The opening tip for Duke and Queens, the first ever meeting between the programs, and the opening tip is controlled by the Blue Devils in white. Roach on the handle on the first possession. Filipowski leading scorer for this Blue Devil team. Roach got two defenders to him. Found the open man, McCain, in the miss.
McCain has been huge in the absence of Proctor. Tom really has had a nice stretch in these last 3 games.
Queens University from just down the road, a couple of hours away, Charlotte, North Carolina. They throw it into the backcourt, race for the basketball. McCain knocked away at the last second out of bounds.
Nice job. I mean, it was an errant pass, but a good job not turning those into points in the air. A good hustle back.
The Royals are 6-8 on the season, coming off a loss at Clemson. This is their second year in the Atlantic Sun Conference. And second year at the Division I level.
I think that game against Clemson might have prepped them a little bit for this environment and level of play.
Roach with a little touch on the follow-away.
He's been the guy. He's been the leader of this team, and so rare that you see, especially at Duke, a guy that stays 4 years. And he'll be the leader of this team, the voice of this team.
Stepping up in the absence of Proctor, who was injured at Georgia Tech earlier this season. Queens able to get on the board. Filipowski was a little bit late there. We're tied early. Inside to Filipowski. Mitchell found him.
This is a small Queens team, so I look for Filipowski to work inside out in this game.
McKee, he's number 5. B.J. McLaurin out there as well, number 6. Drop it low. McLaurin, Filipowski had it sewed in. Knocked that one away with 5 on the shot clock. McKee, he had to give it up on the drive by Cash, and he misses. Roach stepping into the 3-ball. Foster on the inbounds. McCain right down Broadway.
A good strong drive that time. Going left, finishing.
Royals looking for their first win on the road. They are 0-7 away from Charlotte this season. Albury with the spin move, nifty in the paint for Dayton Albury. He's got 4.
Yeah, their guards are strong, and they, you know, that we talked about. They're going to take a ton of threes.
Mitchell muscles it up.
Yeah, one thing John Shire talked about, and we get the quick offense for defense by McCain. Wow, into 3, Tom. Heads up play.
McCain made 3 3-pointers in that win against Baylor at Madison Square Garden. This is quite a stage, Mike, for these visiting Royals from Queens University.
Had the chance to watch them practice on Wednesday, and Grant Leonard and his team excited about this opportunity.
In a congested area, knocked away from McKee, up ahead Roach. Cross court, into the corner, Foster.
3, averaging 18 points a game, but he really looked at that game as a template for the season, really how they want to play, especially defensively.
An impressive win against then number 10 Baylor. McCain, 21 points, game high in time, and that'll be 3rd turnover for Queens. John Shire, second year as the head coach of the Blue Devils, took him to the ACC Tournament Championship a season ago. Got them on a winning streak. They've won 3 in a row and 5 in a row at home. Only loss this season at home was step up in competition for the Royals.
A member of the Atlantic Sun, and they can't play an NCAA tournament action until 26-27, but can play in the A-Sun tournament this year. And that league, as is most of college basketball, in a state of flux right now. but I think this program has a chance to really grow and flourish in that league and on this level.
Late in the shot clock, Filipowski missed, got it back. McCain is open, let the defender fly on by. He's going Top Gun for three.
Well, we were singing Duke's praises defensively against Baylor, but they're playing outstandingly offensively, and then well, Mark Mitchell makes it. That's where he really does. He shines defensively.
Despite the miss, it's Mitchell, and he drops the hammer. A 13-0 run for Duke.
You know, you hate to put it on one guy, but I think he is the key for this team being great. You know, they're going to be really, really good, but for them to make that next step up, I think he's the key for them to be great.
Mitchell is averaging in double digits this season, almost 12 points per game. Fight for the loose ball underneath, and won by the Royals. It was Bryce Cash able to sneak in there for two.
Really like him. Really, the freshman class for Queens is really good. I was impressed with them, watching them practice on Wednesday. Cash really solid at 6'5".
Foster kept it alive. This is Mitchell. Picks it out, McCain. Shot comes up short. McCain grabs it. Filipowski. 18 points per game. 7th in the conference. Tops on this Duke team, and that's McCain. Mid-range. He's into double digits with 10 in the first half.
And see, that's what an injury does for a guy like that. Proctor and McCain, his confidence now going through the rest of the season is just going to be really sky high.
Second straight opponent out of the ACC for Queens University. December 22nd, they were at then number 18 Clemson. And they lost that game 109-79. It's going to be Albury knocking down a three-pointer.
One of their better three-point shooters at 33%. You know, Clemson really drilled them in the first half, but they won the second half of that game, and I expect this team will not fold the early Duke lead. They'll fight back.
Despite that miss, Duke shot 49% in its most recent game, December 20th. Told about the win against Baylor at Madison Square Garden.
What Mark Mitchell makes it, that's where he really does. He shines defensively.
Despite the miss, it's Mitchell, and he drops the hammer. A 13-0 run for Duke.
You know, you hate to put on
12 points per game. Fight for the loose ball underneath, and won by the Royals as Bryce Cash able to sneak in there for two.
Really like him. Really, the freshman class for Queens is really good. I was impressed with them, watching them practice on Wednesday. Cash really solid at 6'5".
Foster kept it alive. This is Mitchell. Picks it out, McCain. Shot comes up short. McCain grabs it. Filipowski. 18 points per game. 7th in the conference. Tops on this Duke team, and that's McCain. Mid-range. He's into double digits with 10 in the first half.
That's what an injury does for a guy like that. Proctor and McCain, his confidence now going through the rest of the season is just going to be really sky high.
Second straight opponent out of the ACC for Queens University. December 22nd, they were at then number 18 Clemson. And lost that game 109-79. It's going to be Albury knocking down three-pointer.
One of the better three-point shooters at 33%. You know, Clemson really drilled them in the first half, but they won the second half of that game, and I expect this team will not fold the early Duke lead. They'll fight back.
Despite that miss, Duke shot 49% in its most recent game, December 20th, to the win against Baylor at Madison Square Garden. It did struggle a little bit from three-point distance, score of 12 as a team, and for the first time since early December, Tyrese Proctor, to a rousing ovation, is into the lineup for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, basically have a line change for Duke. 4 guys coming into the lineup.
Ryan Young is also in there. T.J. Power out of Worcester Academy. The freshman number 12 in white and blue is in. Also Jalen Blakes, number 2 in white. June from Somerset, New Jersey. Those are the new additions for the Blue Devils into the lineup along with King. Deep into the shot clock and in trouble for the Royals, out of bounds at Duke basketball. Cash trying to make a move, and he will go right to his Queens bench. Chat with Grant Leonard, who's been around this program for quite some time. Started as an assistant back in 2013.
They had a very impressive run as Division II school.
They made the Final Four back in 2018 with an offensive foul against Blue Devils. Young picks up the foul. Playing in his 132nd career game, Mike. Most of those at Northwestern. Second year in the Duke program for Ryan Young.
For another Duke coach there, Chris Collins.
Jackson Hollard is into the game at 22 for Queens. Picks it out with Key, their leading scorer. Unable to hit the jumper. Careless pass. And they get it right back, and Pollard lays it in. His first for the game.
He heads up play defensively, getting turned around, active hands.
Blakes. Shot clock down to 10 for McGee. Individual effort. 12 points.
And he's the guy who feels he's got to carry this new unit offensively a little bit until they get into the rhythm and the flow of the game.
McCain is already above his season average, 10.5 points per game. That's Pollard on the interior of their bucket.
Just patience by him. They looked like they were going to double team him. Yeah, they left him with live dribble. Just a different player from November. You just see the confidence that he's playing with.
He just lofted that one over Mountain Wilson, who's a 7-footer for the Queens University Royals.
And an excellent shot blocker.
He put the shoulder down. Blake's hit the floor, will stay at this end. It'll be Queens ball when we come back. Mark Mitchell fights for the loose ball and slam it home for the Blue Devils.
Queens shoot around and got to spend some time here by myself, and always like spend a little time soaking it in, and nice underneath that bounce play. I know John Shire not happy about that, but he a member of the 2010 national championship team.
That's knocked away. Tulane in the basket. And 2. Albury, he's the lead scorer so far, Mike.
Yeah, 2 quick baskets by Queens.
So now he's got 9 points.
And all of a sudden, just an 8-point game, and Queens surviving maybe that initial punch.
Proctor driving and scoring, and go to the free throw line.
And that may be a good play. And the thing that, for a guy coming off an injury, to absorb a little contact like this and get up and, when you're coming back from something like that, it's when you forget about the injury and just keep on playing. That's the last hurdle that you have to get over.
Sophomore for Sydney, Australia, cannot complete the old school 3-point play.
His third miss from the throw line this season on 16 attempts. Filipowski recovered defensively, and Proctor grabs it.
That's what he does. His size gives you good rebounding from the wing position. And, and John, when we talked, he said, that he's not 100% yet, but not that far off.
Now, Filipowski in position, but had it just taken away.
Well, Wilson, they're trying to find him court time, and it just, the crowd there, but he doesn't fit what they do offensively. But this is what he does defensively. He gives you a block every 9 minutes out on the court, and came over from Georgetown.
7-foot senior from Columbia, South Carolina. He goes to the bench for the moment for the Royals. 63% shooting in this first half so far for the Blue Devils. One of the better shooting teams in the ACC at 48%. And it Roach. Another traveling violation. Seabach, 6th turnover. All right, coming up later today, it's the Barstool Arizona Bowl. Catch all the action as the high-flying Toledo Rockets face the rugged Wyoming Cowboys. Toledo, Wyoming. It's here on the CW. Big day of collegiate sports on the CW. Prior to us, Syracuse and its win against visiting Pitt. At the Dome. Filipowski to the rim and get fouled. Seabach with a defender, and Filipowski will walk to the free throw line.
We've done a few games. We had their loss down at Georgia Tech, and Tommy and Kyle Filipowski has been slow to work into games. And even, it's funny, the Baylor game, for him, kind of a pedestrian 13-10. It'd be a good sign for Duke to win a game like that where he's, not scoring in the high 20s.
It's not a bad standard to have when you're shooting for a double-double every night. In fact, he's got 4 in his last 6 games, Mike. Filipowski, a 72% free throw shooter. And the officials rule that will be Queens basketball.
Might have missed one. You can't, obviously, too early game to look for that, but they might have missed that one.
Bert Smith, Bart Lennox, Ellen Milliner are officials for this afternoon game. It is the second of our CW Courtside Saturday doubleheader. Back in action after the Christmas break. Wishing everyone a prosperous new year in 2024. Spin the take and the lay. Albury.
Well, he's been terrific attacking the basket. Their first double-figure score. He's got 11 of their 19. But, the thing that Duke's done to really, they've driven them off the three-point line. They really have taken away that as a weapon for Queens.
Albury averages close to 16 points per game. He's got the 11, as Mike mentioned. First Queens player to double digits.
See their offense 5 out, nobody really in the post.
They've only attempted 3 3-pointers so far. There's the 4th, and it's a miss.
And their leading scorer, McKee, has not scored, not even attempted a field goal. Actually, only attempted 2 field goals.
Filipowski puts it on the floor, then off the glass.
Good job recovering that.
13 points and 10 rebounds to lead the team in that category against Baylor for Filipowski. Went out to challenge the shot. Albury. Lauren baseline. Easy board, Filipowski.
Lauren is their best inside threat. Wide body, a little undersized.
Couple of players hit the deck. Looks like the foul is going to be against Queens when we come back. We'll step aside just a moment at Cameron Indoor Stadium on the CW.
Proctor and him, I think, in the guard rotation.
Tom Wormy, Mike Minsky, and our outstanding CW Courtside Saturday production crew with you from Durham, North Carolina, and Cameron Indoor Stadium. Offensive foul is called in the corner.
A.J. McKee, a little bit of a frustration there, and they're trying to get three-point shooters open, but Duke is really locked down. I mean, this is a team in Queens that averages a little over 29 threes a game, and they only got 5 attempts. A little over 6 minutes to go in the first half. Well under their
McKee is scoreless. Mikey averages 17 per game, 5th best in the A-Sun.
And that's, you know, in the scouting report, and Duke likes to do that. They'll take a look at the other team like this, their leading scorer, and really lock in. Great lob, high-low.
7 points for Filipowski. Mitchell found
Filipowski really has not ventured outside in this game. You know, he's getting guarded by a smaller guy. He's in the paint most of the time.
3-pointer for Queens. Pollard knocks it down. He's been an offensive spark. 7 points.
And for Pollard, that's maybe a big confidence builder for him. 4 of 29 from 3 coming into the game, Tom. They need consistency for him.
Just 14% from 3 for Pollard. Mitchell, Filipowski, 2-man game.
Yeah, and that's, again, you know, you got a taller guy out front. It's Mitchell can see over the top, but you saw, again, no hesitation from him. He saw the mismatch, and a very good lob over the top.
Sophomore from Westtown, New York. MVP of the tournament a season ago. Had a 28-point game, a season high against Hofstra. That's part of the home winning streak of 5 games for the Devils. Shot clock inside of 10. Mitchell. He just demanded the space.
Yep, and he's been doing that. Teams have been playing off him. He's been making up space and being more decisive, going to the basket.
6 points out from Mitchell in the first half. Pollard will hand off. Recovered on the attempt. Catch. Well, they're at Foster stuck around the defender. Couldn't get it over the rim. Nice early start to the season for Queens. November 14th to December 1st. They won 5 of 7 games. Once against High Point, Fairfield, Fairleigh Dickinson, Gardner-Webb, deep in the shot block. Can't beat it. Got the shot away and missed. McCain, not Bestful with a quick release from the corner.
Yeah, you can see no hesitation at all. And, you know, maybe early in November might have thought for releasing that shot. Now, just completely in rhythm.
That is now 17 first half points. Jared McCain. Double team low on Pollard. Had to get rid of him. 3-pointer. Rattles out for Ashby.
And that's one of the best looks that they've had from behind the arc.
Mitchell, tough catch. Sent it back out. Foster misfires. Fouled the way to the rim. 39-22 Duke. Jared Kane, 17 big points in the first half. Cash is at the free throw line. Boy Cash, freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, 1 of 2, 3 points in the first half for Cash.
Interesting to see going forward how Grant Leonard recruits that area. It's pretty good talent in the Charlotte metro area. Got 10 players on the roster now from Charlotte, from North and South Carolina.
That ball knocked away from Sean Stewart working that baseline. Sean Stewart at the free throw line, 2 of 5 so far this season from the stripe. Freshman from Windermere, Florida, out of Montverde Academy.
One of those guys you can plug in anywhere, can defend at all 5 positions.
6'9", 227 pounds, and a soft touch on the second free throw when he's in the backcourt. Tough entry and Cash. Cash had to send back out. Stewart recovered defensively. Still a chance for Queens, and they get a 3 from Ashby. Those are his first points of the game, and then Duke is over and back and gives it back to Queens. Well, CW Courtside Saturday returns next week. Another exciting doubleheader. First, Louisville and Pitt continue their march towards the top of the standings. Lowest setback today against Syracuse. And then we're in Winston-Salem, Miami, and Wake Forest. CW Courtside Saturday returns next week, 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's only on the CW. Missed from 3 for Seabach. Proctor, Young, fouled. Hustle by Young to run the court. So Seabach picked up his second personal foul. Right now it's just Filipowski with 2 personals for Duke. Coming up on the Subaru halftime report, we'll get a preview of that Barstool Bowl out in Arizona and the first half highlights and stats. Queens and Duke.
And it's the thing to keep an eye on in the ACC regular season. Filipowski foul problems in the first half. And this is where they, I don't like to talk about, who's not here, but the absence of Lively in a shot blocker and him getting foul problems in the first half could be, if there could be a problem for this team, that's where the issue could be.
Lively now to Dallas Mavericks. Good defense inside. That's Young and Stewart combining in the defensive effort. It produces traveling violation of 9th turnover of the first half for Queens. Just over 2 minutes remaining in our first half. Duke has led the vast majority in his first 20 minutes. That is Stewart. Did not get the soft time bounce and then commits the foul.
He said, I don't get a lot of court time. I'm out here. I'm going to take a shot. And didn't get a good result. I'm going to get a foul.
John Shire, in our discussion with him at the shooter-out day, Mike, he was quick to warn his team about the three-point shooting for Queens. Well, they are 3 of 9 so far against that Duke D. Under pressure on perimeter. Driving to the basket, hanging and scoring. Albury.
Well, and, all right, and he's, 13 points for him, and but you're going to give up something. And I think that not giving up the drive, you're going to live with some of that, but it's going to be 5 defenders around the arc and a good take on the other end.
And another one this end.
Maybe not that consistently, you don't want to give up that.
15 points now for Aiden Albury. Just about on his season average with his 9th best in the A-Sun. This is Young, one dribble, too strong, follow. Stewart resting the offensive left for the Blue Devils.
Good follow, taking advantage, nobody blocking him out.
That's the first field goal of the game for Stewart. Pollard. To that corner, and that's a 3 all net from that corner.
And the barn, not bad, 38% for big man. That they did win the second half against Clemson. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for Duke. Well, I imagine they'll come out with a little fire in the first 5 to 8 minutes of the second half.
McCain catch and release. Holland came down with it. Duke defensively as a team has 7 blocks in this first half. Filipowski, not on the court at the moment, has a career high 4 so far in our game. We've only got 27 seconds to go in the first half. Where did it go?
Very few free throws attempted combined by these teams.
Off of Albury trying to drive. And the turnover number 10 in the first half for Queens. Yeah, Queens only attempted 2 free throws. The action continues tomorrow. You just saw that. Clemson in North Carolina. It's down the road. CWACC women's basketball. Can't wait to kick off that portion of the season. We'll start it tomorrow. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. 8 miles away from our current location. Shot clock is off. 15 seconds to go in the half. 46-33. Blue Devils. Three seconds. Foster. Mitchell the tip. No. 46-33 is the halftime lead for the Blue Devils.
Well, let's see. We talked about it that after a massive first half versus Clemson, that Queens won the second half down there. And Little John, see how they respond in this game.
Brad Brownell's Clemson Tigers, one of 3 teams out of the ACC in the top 25, including Duke and North Carolina.
I think they're one of the stories of the league so far.
Just 1 loss so far this season. Filipowski took it away. McCain, tight pass back to Filipowski.
You know, almost passed your big man in trouble that time. Nice job catching and without the dribble finishing.
That is a 7-foot sophomore catching that pass, laying it in, all in one motion. Now Filipowski.
In a crowd, too, Tom. That's not the easiest thing to do.
He made it look easy. Wow. Filipowski challenged the 3, but it goes down. That's McLaurin.
Under duress. That was a tough shot.
He's got 6 points. McCain and Filipowski leading the way in the scoring column.
Queens, they really need to get McKee going, although McLaurin did part of their offense as well.
Filipowski chance at the 2-point play.
Watch this. He got a smaller cover. Now it's good strength, and you know you get your hands in the back in the low post, and you're going to get that call.
Second foul on Cash. Old school 3-point play and 12 points now for Kyle Filipowski. Averages just a shade under 18 per game. That is 7th best in the ACC. He's 5th in rebounding. Just over 9 per game. Filipowski. Told you he's set a career high with 4 blocks so far in this game as well.
Got to switch on McKee.
It's a tough contested 3. He hit the deck. We're running the other way with McCain behind the back, and he lays it in.
Just an outstanding move off the dribble.
19 points for McCain. Chance to reload on this possession for Queens. The Atlantic Sun Conference, second year in that conference. Mitchell knocked away the first one, staying with it though for Cash, and he's got 2. Roach dribbling around the defender, so prior to the bucket.
Here's the look, you know, the crossover, 2 crossovers, and then finishing with the left hand. That's just outstanding work all by yourself. They had the offensive glass covered with Filipowski right in front.
Showing off the dribbling skills, Jared McClain. Cash picked up his 3rd foul for Queens as that one goes out of ice. Cash has 5 points with 3 personals. The key, as Mike mentioned, the leading scorer for Queens is not scored. Filipowski in the corner and Foster stepping on back. Rattles out.
That's one thing Filipowski really improved on as well. He's going to get double teamed in the post. He's big enough he can find guys on the perimeter.
Filipowski, number 5, out of bounds.
And shying away either. Remember, he's playing with those 2 personal fouls, but not backing down as a rim defender.
%42% of the team from the floor, Queens. So far in the game, that's going to be a foul against Roach, and he went out awkwardly. He's grabbing at that left ankle. The shoe came off as well. It's the senior Jeremy Roach, Leesburg, Virginia, 2-time captain on this team. It's good to see. Popping up, trying to shake off.
Well, the thing, what happened too, Albury landed on his foot, and I think that's what they were worried about. It looked like it almost buckled underneath him.
Yeah, that was an awkward play as Albury fell to the floor.
I think it was one of those things, we saw somebody come out from the sideline. I think it looked a lot worse than it actually was, with the shoe coming off.
Roach is like, give me a break. I picked up a foul too. Second personal on Roach. Appears to be shaking off the after effects of that awkward play. So again, E.J. McKee, we talked about him at the top of the show. Leading scorer. And that's the more alarming thing, Mike. Only 2 field goal attempts.
Yeah, no, they've completely locked down on him.
Deep shot clock for McKee. Trying to shake Foster. A degree of difficulty on the 2-pointer. Got a very gracious roll.
That was a long 2. Wouldn't even have been a 3. And then he's got to defend them. They're attacking the other end.
And Mitchell barreling his way to Pollard.
Look at this. I mean, this is all you want defensively. Look at that down. You see it's a long 2. And he's going to see white jerseys in his sleep this evening.
So Pollard picked up that foul for Queens. And Mitchell's going to the line. A.J. McKee. 17 points per game, Mike. Not even close to that. Just got in the box score.
Yeah. And, the trend that I like about Mitchell in the last 3 games, 23 free throw attempts on this in a game. And what this signals to me is that he's not shying away from the contact. He's being more decisive, and he's not afraid to get to the line. And I think for this team going into ACC play, that's going to be a big plus.
8 points from Mitchell, 69% body of work from the free throw line of the season. That's out of bounds. Roach disrupted. Back to Duke.
Had one of those in the first half, too.
Duke had 16 points off the 10 turnovers in the first half for Queens.
At least this one is a dead ball turnover so they can set their defense.
Stolen back Pollard. Does not have numerical advantage. Wait for reinforcements with catch. Right down lane, McKee. Filipowski was the defender. That's going to be number 3 on number 30.
Yeah, and Queens answered right back with a good defensive play. Rush up the floor. Good patience waiting for that cutter down the lane. No action on the Duke bench, so John Shire is going to let him stay with the 3.
Key at the line, 69% of the season. He led team in scoring with 18 points. Tied the team lead. The loss against the Tigers. Struggled on 3-pointers, 3 of 11.
Third team All-A-Sun last year is a preseason first teamer this year.
Over 1,000 points in his career. earlier this year. It's High Point. Mitchell pulled it down, and then there was foul called. Looked like Cash were the closest Royal, and that's the fourth on Cash. So he steps right to the bench.
And that one, see, that's a freshman foul that you really, that I'm sure that Grant Leonard is going to have a conversation with him about it. A foul, he has no chance to get the ball back, and it puts him on the bench.
Filipowski courts correction and hits the short shot. 14 points. Blue Devils are working on a 3-game winning streak. They won 7 of their last 9. A couple of players go to the floor. The arrow favors Duke. A little bit of afters. Just whistle. Filipowski making his move on the inside for the Blue Devils in front by 16.
I told myself I was okay with my...
On to basketball season for Blue Devils and the Crazies who've kept the house once again. Filipowski.
See Tyrese after with a nice give and go there. 9 minutes in that first half.
514th straight sellout. Cameron Indoor Stadium. Stepping through defenders and laying it in. Albury.
Sure that Cameron will be at full throat for your alma mater coming in here on Tuesday.
Coming off a victory in game 1 of a doubleheader against Visiting Pitt. January 2nd, home game against Syracuse. In that series, Duke has won 8 in a row.
There's that look to post feed. Good active hands. Nice give and go. And that's the thing, Proctor, he's so good with the basketball. 36 assists in the year coming in, only 8 turnovers. And it's that decision making with him out.
So Filipowski on the John Shire bench with 4 personal fouls. And that looked like McCain reaching on a key drive. Filipowski with 4 double-doubles this season, Mike, after the Baylor game.
For John Shire, this is still a dangerous 15 minutes to go. McKee still hadn't done much. It's a team that can launch threes. It's 15 points,
So what are you saying?
So you're saying there's a chance?
First time I've heard that. Into the backboard, an attempted save. Good hustle there. McCain leading the way with his 19 points. Filipowski's on the bench with 16. Those are the 2 Blue Devils in double digits in scoring. Roach. Proctor getting significant minutes in his first action back since the injury at Georgia Tech. Fire from Roach. Young trying to save it. Foul called. That's against Queens. So, Mike, this is the 3rd time that we've seen the Duke program, and it's almost their progression through the month of December, starting with the loss of Georgia Tech.
And college season is kind of strange, Tom. November is really intense. You look at the games they play, maybe Arizona coming in here. And then, you start off, you have that game down in Georgia Tech. You get you're 0-1 right now in conference. You lose Proctor for a stretch. Then you have the big win on the road. Nice 3.
22 points for King.
And then, you have finals. and a couple wins, and then you have the Christmas break, and you've got to get cranked up all over again, and now you're looking at 19 league games starting on Tuesday.
And we saw Duke on CW against Georgia Tech on the road and against Charlotte with a home victory. And Mike referenced the next game coming up January 2nd, conference game number 2 against the Orange, and then a couple of games against Pitt, Notre Dame with its win this afternoon as well. Michael Shrewsbury, one of the first-year head coaches. Damon Stoudemire as well.
Yeah.
He got his first ACC win against John Shire in early December when Duke came down to Camish Pavilion.
But it's mentally, it is a long season for coaches and players.
Not a backcourt violation with the inbounds on the baseline.
Which I think is another rule change. I mean, if you can't get the ball in at half court, come on.
Put it on the Jaminski list, the rule changes. Look at Young, fighting like it's a one-point game. And honestly, that's the kind of effort that Coach Shire expects from every single guy.
Yeah, and that's his role too. I mean, that's what he's got to give you out on the floor. He's a tri-captain.
Graduate student, 6'10", 238 pounds. And therefore, Filipowski getting the breather with his 4 personal fouls. So Young is at the line, 8 of 12 on the season for Ryan Young in the transfer from Northwestern.
They shoot free throws for the rest of the game.
Young is also a 1,000-point scorer combined with Northwestern and Duke. Scored 744 points at Northwestern. 5 career double-doubles, none this season for Ryan Young. Young now with 4 points in the game and the largest lead for the Blue Devils as it's 12 to 20. It might get higher. Kane's hesitation. Proctor stepping into a free ball.
Well, Grant under timeout, but Proctor, everybody got buried on the break that time, and he was a nice trailer on the play.
8-0 run. McCain, Blakes, Proctor from three-point real estate.
I'll make that career high for the freshman. I think we may see a few more of those this year.
So he now has 43 points in his last 2 games, and we still have 13-plus minutes to go in this one. And a game-high 21 points in the win against Baylor. Made 3 3-point baskets, 7 of 11 shooting. Backing it up against Queens. Now, certainly, different level of competition, but it's all building towards the brunt of that ACC schedule, which will crank up on January 2nd for Duke.
And one thing, Tom, that we haven't touched on, which has been a strength of this team all year, is their ball handling. And it's just going to get better with Proctor back. They're one of the best ball handling teams in the country as far as turnovers are concerned. They've only got 6 in this game so far. And 7th in the country, just under 9 a game, which is outstanding.
Look at the shot clock and driving basket. Duke led by 13 at halftime. Entry Young. That'll roll in. 6 points now for Young. McKee trying to work off the screen, lost the handle. Young, Blakes. Shielding the defender with his body, laying it in and creating contact.
What really started with Ryan Young down at the other end. He got the switch, made the steal right here. Look at that, just off McKee. And then this is what, it's one thing Duke has been doing all afternoon, turning turnovers into points out in the open floor. And a great finish through contact by Blakes.
Blakes, the first miss from the free throw of this season. It had been 5 for 5. Queens attacking the rim, Mike, on successive possessions.
And you don't usually see that off of a missed free throw. Usually you're supposed to have balance back defensively.
Rock kicks it out, Foster. Into the paint, pirouettes. Young fighting for it. Save made. They got it back to Foster, and he attacked the rim, and foul will be called. Blue Devils way ahead of Queens in our second half. At home, where the Celtics haven't lost, I might add. And then the college football playoff, Mike, upcoming.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your take on the Final Four.
You got 2 hours?
For you,
I got a couple of arguments, maybe one way or the other. That'll all go away next year. 12 teams in the college football playoff.
There'll always be a 13th that'll have that argument.
I don't know if it'll be as strong as perhaps number 5 has this season.
Yeah,
But I digress. Hey, that's Aubrey, Mike. I have 23 points.
Yeah, no, he's been terrific. And Duke has really shut out McKee. Only 4 points, only 3 field goal attempts for their leading scorer in this game. Albury's been fabulous. 11 of 16 shooting, not just the 23 points. He's been very efficient.
Yeah, he's way above his average of 15.5 points per game.
Offensive glass over the top. A little closet.
He's got 7. Watch out below. That's a tough pass that bounces off the scorer's table. So Roach and McCain come back in. Proctor, good minutes, Mike, in his return since early December in the ankle injury.
Filipowski coming back on those 4 fouls.
14 minutes for Proctor in his return, including a 3-point basket. Powers in there for Duke. T.J. Power, the freshman from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, from Worcester Academy. Filipowski double teams. Seabrook came over to help defensively out of bounds. It will stay with the Blue Devils.
I think as the season unfolds, the Power could be an X factor for this team. He's just too good of a 3-point shooter, and his size. Should there be some foul trouble and issues for a factor against Syracuse?
This is Power for 3.
That's his game. And that's what he does well. And come in, play in this game, knock down some threes, have his confidence going into January.
He had just 2 total points in his last 3 games and had not attempted a field goal for Power. And he's now 7 of 13, Mike, from beyond the arc.
See this again, talking about Filipowski, looking weak side, good extra pass.
Worcester Academy whiz from beyond the 3-point line. Knocked away Roach. Kane will take it. Despite that miss, appears that Duke should be on its way towards victory. The traveling violation turns it over. Duke's won 24 straight at home against unranked non-conference opponents. It looks like that string will continue.
One thing too, that rebounding may be a stat to keep an eye on with this team. Only a +2 in this game. Well, if that's a stat that comes alive early in this year, Kyle Filipowski really struggled, and in this game he really hasn't needed it. It's an undersized Queen team. He's done most of his work inside. In the league, he'll have to have that sharpened up.
So he's up to 19 points now after that three-pointer, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, without really even had to set his name all that much. Does have a beautiful stroke from outside. He's had, had a stretch early in November where he wasn't seeing the basket at all from the perimeter.
8 of 23 on three-point tries for Duke in the game. Filipowski on season 31% from beyond the arc. Shot clock is down to 3. Stop. .48 game in a Duke uniform. Filipowski, he started them all. Went to the tournament title a season ago. Second round of the NCAA tournament. Beat Virginia in the finals last year, Mike, after wins against Pittsburgh and Miami, which went all the way to Final Four. 5 teams from the ACC played in the tournament last year.
And just in watching across the country, I don't know that there's a dominant team out there. Number one is switched back and forth. Purdue's been there a lot of the time.
They win against Arizona. They lost to Northwestern in overtime.
In conference early on.
Yep. Double digits for Mitchell with 10 with the free throw. Fans of all ages enjoying this afternoon game on a Saturday around the holidays. We certainly wish everyone a fantastic 2024 and hope the holiday season has been fun and exciting.
That's some family. Yeah, and it's a cool thing about games like this that people who normally wouldn't be able to come into Cameron and see a game get the chance to come in and see the team play.
Ashby with a 3. McCain building on his season high, and he'll be able to do it from the free throw line potentially. McCain set his season high. He tied in that game against Baylor with 21. He goes to the line with 22 on 9 of 14 shooting, and his first free throws the afternoon. And now 15 of 17 to the line on the season at 23 points. Jack McCain, from Sacramento, California.
They back up all the other good stats with that free throw accuracy. Let's see what we did to that, Tom.
See in the background there, Therese Proctor has come back in for some additional minutes. He's up to 14 minutes played, and Kane will lead. Nice round of applause for Jared McCain. You can see the development like this game since we did that game against Georgia Tech, where Proctor had to leave the ankle injury very early in that game at Georgia Tech, won it in upset style. Duke had won 16 of the last 17 against Georgia Tech for the Yellow Jackets.
Bay Dongo was huge in that game. How the run that he's been on since that time, too. I think we saw him come of age in that game, and he has gone on to continue and build on that.
They swarmed the court. Candace Pavilion.
Up and under Proctor. Laid it in.
7 for Proctor in his return.
And John Shire, I'm glad to see that Tyrese Proctor got some court time out there today. I mean, he could have gone 2 ways with that. Protect him and wait for league play to put him out there. But he had 3 good days of practice. Get him out there, get some time against the team.
So that loose ball bounce will stay with you. Tyrese Proctor, that can stay in the ball game. Blakes have a fun afternoon after that driving bucket. Defender fell down. Parker trying to make a move. Ashby picks up the foul. It's his first. When we did that game in Atlanta in early December, Duke was ranked number 7 in the nation. Ranked in top 10 at least once. 28 straight years.
And, you know, were they overranked early? You can make the argument, yes. And the thing about this team is they're very different than they have been in years past. It's been a really physically imposing team the last 5 to 10 years or so. But this team, smaller, but, you know, more wing and guard based. You know, aside from Filipowski and Mitchell, and that's why I think Mitchell is so important to what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're checking on Aubrey, who is down. How about his day with 23 points? That's just too shy of his career high of 25, but being helped to the bench by the training and medical staff for Dayton Aubrey. So we can pick it up here.
Yeah, he just
non-contact.
Yeah. Non-contact. Just his left ankle just went out a little bit from underneath him.
Lauren got it back. Fred McKee. Blakes pulls it down. There was that little slip there, Mike, a little hiccup with losses at Arkansas, which is certainly not a bad loss, and then the loss at Georgia Tech. 3 wins in a row for the Blue Devils, 5 in a row at home. They turn it over. Right down the middle, McMillan was going for the jam, and Stewart contested it. Picked up a foul. His second. The Baylor win. We take a look at the attempt by Stewart.
It looked like McLaurin, yeah, if he lost the ball going up. It's the act of trying to get the dunk, gets him the foul, gets him the call, whistle.
The Baylor win in their last game on December 20th was their first against a top 10 team for Duke since November of 21.
Against Gonzaga.
Yeah, it was in Vegas. They beat them 84-81. Gonzaga was #1 in the nation at the time. McLaurin with it.
The one thing too, Queens is missing. They're going to miss their best player for this year. Gavin Raines will be out for the whole year, and the leading rebounder probably would have set records for career rebounds. Another huge loss for this team. Guys are playing out of position as a result of that. It would have been taking a huge load off of McLaurin inside.
Yeah, Raines, 5th in school history in total rebounds. Over 700. Was injured last year and did not see action this year and is out for the remainder of the season with the knee injury suffered last season. So we told you it's their second year in the Atlantic Sun Conference. Kennesaw State, by the way, is the defending champ in that conference, beating Liberty by a point in the tie game a year ago.
For Gulf Coast electrifying the college world a few years ago. Andy Enfield using that run to go out to Southern Cal.
Well, the win for Queens, Mike, in the first round last year was against Florida Gulf Coast, 61-55. That tournament is contested on campus since. McKee with 6. And I'm sure if you told Coach Leonard, McKee would have 6 points with 6 minutes to go.
He will not remember with his family, and he was such a fine man. Did so much, represented the university and that program so well. 52 years old.
It was a touching tribute against Charleston Southern. They left the radio analyst chair empty. He'd been in that role for many years, and a national champion as well. He certainly missed.
Better man than all of that.
Absolutely. Jones Angel is the play-by-play announcer for North Carolina, and he handled the game by himself. That's Jones on the right. The empty chair for Montas. Drafted by the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
His NBA career.
Lead 10th. Pick. God has his arms wrapped around his family.
Just such a class person, representative of the Carolina program. Here in Durham, it's the Blue Devil pulling away from the Royals. Knocked away on the inside. Cash gonna send it back out. Pollard with volleyball to preserve possession to McKee.
It's a tough shot, McKee, Mike. I don't think he's had an easy one this afternoon. True, and he has spent a lot of time on the deck as well.
Top of the Shire scouting report.
Yep. Yeah, they have throughout, certainly throughout the Krzyzewski years, they have had a way of surgically removing the leading scorer for the other team.
Stewart. Away. Queens as a university might. Oh, chance for Cash. Right down Broadway. They had never played an ACC team.
Nope.
And their last two opponents on the ACC.
And Bryce Cash, he's going to be a player. 4 years. He stays there 4 years, develops, solid body, good rebounder, very explosive.
Down low, Blake's.
Nice feed by Proctor.
McKee, Power trying to recover. With Proctor, Mike, you almost get the sense that he went to John Shire and said, the ankle feels great. I want more run. Let me back in there.
And this is, and again, this is more of a time where a coach has to protect the player from himself, which is good. You get to that's where a guy in his mind has gotten beyond the injury, and here he is. And this is exactly what he wanted to have happen today. Got some court time, feels good about himself, healthy, 4 assists, 18 minutes, job well done.
Also knocked down a three-pointer.
Yep.
He was their leading three-point shooter when he left the one up in early December. Back the other way. Stewart recovering in the Euro move by Ulrich. And Stewart went through the defenders. Double-fisted at the rim. So let's have 4 minutes to go in regulation. Feel pretty safe saying that that's all we're going to need this afternoon. The cutter is Foster, and then a clockwise swirl down the net.
That's his move.
He stopped short and then laid it in. Hey, a 3 at the other end from Pollard. Mike, if you're Queens, what do you think you take away from this afternoon?
Just the experience of, it's great exposure for your program. Came out here, you competed. Gives you a good barometer of what playing against. You played against 2 ACC teams back to back on their floor.
The steal. Foster does a chin up. Timeout on the court. Duke on its way to victory.
Regular season football game and then a bowl game. To go through. I know you're used as a player. You're used to that, and that's to have that stretch to keep that focus. Especially if you're playing for the national championship and to go through that. that takes an incredible amount of concentration.
And you know, we have two teams in our game this afternoon, Mike, who had week and a half, 2 layoffs as well. And so trying to get back into the swing of things in the final game in 2023.
Yep.
Looking forward to 24.
And this, you know, again, I mean, you're looking at, with what Duke started with, and the season starts so early for these guys. Now, they're playing important games in November. You know, all the these top 25 teams are playing each other early in the season, which is great. I mean, it's great for the sport, and, you know, it's great for the fans. But you've got to be really early and then carry that into March.
I mean, November 10th, they were on this floor against Arizona.
Yeah.
Top 10 matchup.
Yeah.
A 78-73 loss, the only home loss so far this season. Blake's in the drive. He's got 6. Syracuse on January 2nd visiting Cameron Indoor Stadium as the college schedule gets rolling in the ACC.
Today's action, that was Wake Forest's first ACC game today, and they've got 20 in a row to finish out.
Power knocking down 3. Spencer Hubbard is in there, number 55. Stewart remains in the lineup. Powell got another 3. He's 2 for 2 on his 3-point attempts.
No hesitation there. Great look. Right middle of the floor.
Begovic is in there as well for Duke, number 20. In the view right from behind the backboard. On the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl coming up. ACC is 5-5 in postseason bowl games. The ever-changing compulsion of college sports. ACC next year will extend to the Pacific Ocean. Stanford, Cal, and we're going to the Metroplex as well with SMU.
He's sitting next to me when we go to San Francisco.
First class, baby. Sundays and zippers. Stewart, second ever.
Gotta get that hot fudge distribution.
Inside and final minute now. Some nice minutes for the players that work so hard and practice every day. Hubbard. Blitz. Got deflected by Matthews. Howard steals it. Begovic has not scored this season. Got a chance there, playing in his 5th game for graduate student. Transfer from Stanford. First time this season, Mike, that Duke has hit 100 points.
You know, it was funny. And John Shire told us, and you know, they scored 78 against Baylor, and he said it could have been easily 90. You know, a couple of finishes he thought they didn't make inside, and a couple of kickouts that where he thought were there for threes. So he saw a couple of things that could have been tweaked in the offense there.
Duke is 4th in scoring in the ACC so far this season, by just over 81 points per game. Of course, they're way above that in this one against Queens. First ever meeting between the programs.
But, you know, again, I think for Queens, just the exposure for this game nationally that they get playing against Duke is huge. And wish Grant Leonard all the success in the world. You know, this campus is beautiful right in Myers Park. Beautiful section of Charlotte. Wish them well in the A-Sun and in their growth in D1.
Draw hit 1 or 2 from line, and that should do it. 106.